Well, welcome in everyone to the AL Recruiting Podcast. This is one of our player interviews, and tonight we are excited to have Tevis Metcalf with us. He is a 2024 cornerback, and he has just committed to the University of Arkansas. Tevis, we're so glad to have you on tonight, man.
Glad to be here.
It's a big thing, and I don't know if people know this, but when you make that commitment and when you finally get that kind of done, most players that I talk to say it's kind of like a weight is lifted to have that behind them. Is that kind of how you feel about this process?
Yes, sir. It's great to go and get my spot locked in and just be able to just relax when it comes to that type of worrying and just get to go ahead and focus on my season and getting up there.
Right. Well, one of the things that I was preparing for this interview, and so I got to ask you the question. So when I Google search your name, if you put it in Google, it starts to come up. There's questions about DK Metcalf as well. So we got to know, Tevis Metcalf, what's your relationship to DK Metcalf?
So my dad and his dad are first cousins, and that makes me and him second cousin, of course.
Okay, well, that question, and you know this is going to come up. I mean, I'm sure for you and your brother, we're going to talk about your brother here in just a second, but that's definitely going to come up. But, guys playing in the SEC, it's a name we recognize. Of course, he plays for the Seahawks, but, he had a great career at Ole Miss. And so, that is something that people are going to ask that question. But, you committed to Arkansas. I know the Arkansas fans want to hear about this. Tell us about your commitment. Kind of who did you commit to? What was going on that weekend when you did commit?
Okay, so I really committed there because I love the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
I love the hometown feeling it gives. And I love the coaching staff the new coaching staff and all the new things that they're trying to implement and just the stuff that they're trying to build there. And first person I committed to was Coach Woodson. We were eating breakfast, and then I just sprung it on him while we were having a little conversation.
Awesome. Well, man, I mean, I think, and you watch this, and I know Arkansas has recruited the state of Alabama really well over the years. I've followed recruiting for a long time, been involved with it, but and I think Coach Pittman's doing the same thing. I think he's put an emphasis on guys in Alabama. Obviously, it's worked for you and your brother and other players, and so I think they're getting a good one with you.
Appreciate it.
Well, let me ask you this. Your brother, TJ, is 2023 commitment, and he's there. I've seen, I saw his player profile at Arkansas. So what does it mean to get to have an opportunity to play with your brother, to play college football with him?
It means a lot considering that me and him have played almost every sport with each other since we, grown up. And it's just over those years, it's built a lot of team chemistry and just a lot of trust that we can put in each other when we're on the field together.
Absolutely.
And actually, I'll probably say that we've thought of this for a while of always having the ability to play with each other in the future. So,
man, I don't blame you. If I had a brother that I could play college football with, I would totally plan that out and want to do that, because that just seems like just such an incredible opportunity. And not only like play with your brother, be on the same team. I mean, there's a great opportunity that you can be in the same defense with your brother, right?
yes, sir.
I mean, because he's a safety, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, and you're playing corner. I know some sites have you listed as an athlete, but you're going to play corner for Arkansas, correct?
I'm gonna play field and boundary, and then I'm gonna play some nickel. So just really learning the whole secondary.
Yeah, any spot, right? Well, I mean, and that's kind of what I was going to see, is just, making sure the fans knew how the coaching staff is planning on using you and getting to play.
Yes, sir.
All right. So obviously recruiting is a long process. There's a lot that goes into it. And so one of the things I want to ask and just kind of get to know, and part of this whole podcast and everything we do is always giving back, always trying to help players, always trying to help families right now. And maybe a few years from now, however long YouTube or Twitter keeps this video up, somebody's going to come across it and watch this. And what would you advise to young guys ninth, 10th, maybe an 8th grader, 7th grader that watches this podcast or listens to it, what would you tell them that they need to do and how to go through this process?
Most importantly, I probably have to say is be a sponge when it comes to the game and just just suck in as much knowledge as you can, just about the game, about the recruiting, like just suck it all in because when you get to where you're trying to go, like you gotta know what you're talking about. You gotta know what they're talking about. So like they'll try to get you on the board. If you can't put it on the board, then you're not gonna get no playing time. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing. Then I had to say always grind, always always find different ways to perfect your technique.
Mm-hmm.
Always be conditioned, of course. And then another thing I probably have to say is just don't worry about anything anybody has to say about you because at the end of the day, it's about what you put on the field and not what they have to say. Because they can't come do it for you, no matter how good they say you are, how bad they say you are. You got to go put the work in and go get it done. So
Yeah. And I know a lot of times in recruiting, us talking heads, we say this. I want you to say it from a player perspective. Does what you do in the classroom matter to coaches?
oh yes, sir. It matters a lot.
Okay. So any recruit that's watching this, you not from me, you've heard it from a player that just committed to Arkansas, the best corner in the state of Alabama for 2024. You're hearing it. Okay. And so I think it's just good advice to just let these young guys know. I mean, all of it matters to these coaches.
Yes, sir. And then with the academics, it's probably like millions of people who probably could have been in college having a free education, but and just have the ability to play SEC, play NFL, but just didn't do the right things in the classroom. So
Mm-hmm.
they didn't get those chances anymore. So I always take advantage of what you can.
Yeah, I mean, we hear it all the time. You control what you can control. You can control what you're doing in the classroom. You can control how hard of the work you put in. And man, I know this. Like I've watched you and your brother on Twitter and all your workouts and all this stuff. These guys work. Like kind of give us a little bit of background outside of football practice. How much work do you guys put in to get to the point of where you are?
I try to put in as much as I can. So I got about 3 trainers that I go to consistently right now. So one of them is just strictly speed, explosiveness, and just those type of things, conditioning. So I try to hit him up at least 2 times a week, and then with DB, I go to Justin Woodall and I'll go to AJ Jett, and I'll try to just perfect my craft any days out of the week.
Mm-hmm.
So really every day, to be honest. So
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's so many people that just have this perception out there like, "Oh man, he's so lucky he has this opportunity, man." I want to be very clear to anybody that ever thinks that about players, anybody that plays, Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, NAI, it's not luck. I mean, you've put in hard work to get to this point.
so I appreciate it.
I
And it,
mean,
it just took a lot to and it still takes a lot, but it took a lot to even get where I'm at right now. So I just thank God and my parents and all of that. So
mhm. Well, let me ask you, when did the dream of playing college football, when did you start to think about, hey, I want to play college football? Not anybody else, but you yourself.
uh so really middle school I always wanted to play big level, but when I really got to high school, that's when I really saw how serious it was and really started thinking about like real life right outside of high school when I got to take care of myself and I know I can't get nowhere without making it in college or and then you got to think about like your passion. So a lot of people have passions outside of sports,
Mhm.
but as sports being a main passion, I can think that's something I want to do growing up. So that's just something I just wanted to go ahead and lock down and really just I don't know take that serious. Like
Yep. Well, not for my words. Here's the last question I got for you. But what kind of player is the University of Arkansas getting, and what can fans expect to watch and see?
they should expect to get a very athletic and smart player and humble player. Somebody who's gonna always try to be where the ball is, make plays, and encourage my teammates, and just be a role model for everybody, not just in Fayetteville, but all around the world. So
awesome, man. Well, if anybody wants to catch you in action this year, Parker High School, right?
yes, sir.
All right, Parker High School in Alabama. You can pull up their schedule. You can watch him. You can come watch Tevis live and really see what you kind of get a preview of what you're going to get. But y'all are going to play some good football, man. And I expect you to have a great senior season. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, sir.
Well, Tevis, man, I appreciate you stopping by and letting us have just a moment to kind of talk with you and let the fans get to hear from you just a little bit. But we wish you nothing but the best. And if there's anything we can ever do for you, we'll do it, man.
I appreciate you for having me on.
All right.
Talk for a minute. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, everybody, if you will do me a favor, if you like this video, will you like and subscribe so that we can continue to produce more content like this for you and help you in the recruiting process. But again, thanks so much for listening. Thank you, Tevis, for being with us.
Yes, sir.